The way I see it, there's two types of knowledge. Practical knowledge and declarative knowledge. And you can't be uber successful unless you have both. Declarative knowledge is knowing things, and practical knowledge is knowing how to do things. That's where the term polymath comes in. It's this old Greek word, poly for many, math for knowledge, that describes these two halves. The word evokes images of these old masters inside of me, like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, who had these deep expertises in many domains like art and science and biology and engineering and politics and doing everything. It was really impressive. For the vast majority of my life, I overinvested in declarative knowledge. I only really wanted to understand how the world works. What makes things function? How does it fit together? How is the world made up of all of these many subsystems? And only recently I've understood that you also need practical knowledge. You need to be able and you need to know how to do things. It's good enough to know how the world works, but you're not going to have an impact unless you know how to change it as well. That's why right now I'm just trying to get my balance back. It used to be this way, and now I'm leveling up my practical skills to get back on balance. So what is a polymath? Like I said earlier, for a lot of you it probably evokes these images of Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, these old masters, these old craftsmen that are really deep and well studied. That's inspiring enough, but for me that's usually not enough. I need some closer connection, something closer to the present. Think about James Cameron, for example. You wouldn't think of him as a polymath, right? But when you think about it, he has world-class directing skills, he has a very deep curiosity about technology and pushing the frontiers, and he's really curious about deep ocean exploring. Think about Avatar. The movie would not have had this outstanding success if it weren't for the two halves that made it up. James Cameron was incredible at directing, and he put up a great story and a great framework, but what really made the movie special was this investment in motion capture technology. He really tried to outdo what the industry was doing at the time in the late 2000s and was really trying to get a level up. When you think back, the movie was heavily based on the Na'vi being digitally rendered, and that was based on actual actors doing the movements, which then later on a computer got converted to these 3D images. So you take two basic skills, directing at a world-class level and technology, also at a world-class level. You combine them and you get $1 billion grossing movie. Same with one of his other curiosities, deep ocean exploring. You take, again, great directing, and you take this curiosity for the ocean, and together, combined, again, you have $1 billion grossing movie. So, is James Cameron a polymath? In my opinion, I would say so. He combines these very different skills together to make up something entirely new and have this outstanding success. So how do I become a polymath? Well, imagine you're having a basic job at a local coffee shop, you're a barista, you're brewing coffee, you're just going to work every day, you earn your $15 an hour, and that's it. You must be thinking, I am so far removed from being a polymath, I could never ever get there. But you're pretty wrong about that. Again, remember, being a polymath means stacking a lot of skills on top of each other until you reach somewhere unique. But it all starts at the foundation. You need to have world-class skills. You need to get good at really high levels of your craft. And that starts with practice. How consciously are you actually doing your job? Are you observing how you're working, how you're brewing coffee? Let me give you an example. There's so many variables that go into making great coffee. Like, what grind settings are you using for the beans? How much water pressure are you using for brewing the coffee? What type of water are you even using? Is it cleaned? Is it filtered? What kind of treatment are you using? What kind of beans are you even using? What kind of roast do the beans have? All of these variables make up a good coffee. And that's just this very narrow skill of making coffee. You can even go more upstream. You can figure out, okay, where are the best beans coming from? How they're planted? What's the best way to harvest them? Again, the roast. What about importing? What about impact on environment? What about treating farmers fairly? All of these factors in some way contribute to making a great coffee, or at least the story around making a great coffee. That was upstream. You can also go downstream. Like in your local coffee shop, who are your customers? Why are they coming to your shop for coffee? Are they looking to work? Are they looking to relax? Maybe it's different on weekends or weekdays. Would they like an introduction with other people? Would they like some exchange? How is your store furnished? What types of chairs are you using? What music are you playing? Do you have any events there? Book clubs, open mic nights, anything? You can see that you can really get lost in the details here. And that's again just about coffee. I can promise you that there's people working at Walmart right now who are insanely curious about coffee and who would love to get into your industry and don't know how to. And you are at your local coffee shop job and you think it's the worst thing of the world. Every industry, every field of knowledge, every domain has a community of highly excited people that are just meeting up, they're exchanging, they're talking coffee all day long, and they're obsessed about it. So why not you? Why don't you get deep into coffee? Of course, that applies to all domains. For me, it was software engineering. I really got deep into software engineering. But whatever you're doing right now, I promise you, you can get deep. Even if you're just a cashier, it doesn't matter. While you're mastering your one skill, it's important to be open, to be curious. Not just about your main thing, but about all the things around in your life. View your life holistically. It's not just one segment, it's a whole thing, a whole sphere combined together. You need to start cultivating your other curiosities. Sure, James Cameron is a great director, but he didn't stop there. He got curious about technology and he got curious about the ocean as well. He didn't do it from the start, but he was always exploring it a little bit. Even if he was just watching videos and reading books, that's already a good start. Because remember, being a polymath means stacking different skills on top of each other, finding the combination, the unity between them. So practice your main skill, but try to cultivate your other interests as well. Is intuition important to becoming a polymath? I would say definitely. You can't get deep into a subject without following your curiosity. And curiosity is just the way of the universe showing you where you need to go. It's a type of intuition. So what would I do differently if I had to start over? By the way, I'm Nikolai. I'm the head of technology at Apex Innovation, where we're trying to do new things in a corporate setting. I'm also building the startup Nunk, where we're trying to reinvent the Berlin rental market. And I'm sharing my progress and my lessons along the way with you on this YouTube channel. If you're curious about it, then please drop me a subscription and I will see you in the next video, but not before I wrap up this one. So what would I do if I could start over again? I would be much more disciplined around my practice. When I was younger, I had these insecurities around certainty. I was doing my thing, I was curious about software engineering, but there was always something in my head that was asking, what if this doesn't work out? What if this is not the right way to go? I was never a big fan of universities, so I didn't get a degree, but I was always wondering, what if that's what you really need to have success? If only there was someone when I was younger who could tell me, anything you want to do, you can be successful at. It doesn't matter whether it's software engineering, being a barista, traveling, doing art, photography, music, anything. You can be successful at anything if you want it enough. I was lacking this certainty when I was younger. So I was distracted. I was always questioning myself and not investing in the same discipline, in the same amount that would be needed to get there faster. So I was slacking off a lot. I was not being very persistent. That's changed now, but maybe you're in the same situation. And I promise you, if you get deep enough in your field, you're gonna have success. So the second part is not trying to find enough balance between my declarative knowledge and my practical knowledge. Like I said, since I was young, I was curious about understanding how the world works. At some point when I was 6 or 7, my choir teacher called me a living encyclopedia because I could recite how all the hammers work in a piano to produce the sound. But that was about it. I was just trying to understand the world. I was not trying to change it, at least not yet. I wish I had the courage to invest more in my skills earlier on and try to get the balance back and try to change the world more quickly. It is what it is, and I don't really regret my path, but if you want to get there fast, then I encourage you to build the skills first and try to understand as a slight second place. In the end, what it comes down to, being a polymath is not somewhere where you reach, but it's more of a state of being. Look at these masters, be it Michelangelo or James Cameron. They never stopped learning, they never stopped being curious, and they just kept taking the next level and the next level and the next level. So just stay curious, and then in my definition, you're already successful. You're successful when you do the things that are going to take you where you want to go. Whether or not you reach there yet doesn't really matter. The last thing is that you really need to focus on your daily practice. This is a recurring theme on this channel. It's something that I truly had to understand deep in my heart, and now it's applied all across my life. You only move forward when you're taking actions, when you're trying to practice, when you're trying to move forward. In my last video called You Can Just Do Things, I explained how to attain mastery in a specific field in more detail. If you're curious about that, you can take a look and give it a watch. This video is more about the bigger picture, the broader things. But The important part is to do your daily practice. I'm still not perfect, like I'm 10 years into my career at this point and I'm still not practicing daily as diligently as I should, but at least I'm getting ahead. I'm always reminded, I even feel guilty if I don't do it. Sometimes I don't have the energy or the motivation. Sometimes I have imposter syndrome. It's normal, I think. It's just part of doing it, but you have to keep going. You cannot give up. If you stop lifting the weights at the gym, you're not going to grow bigger. It's as simple as that. The same applies to knowledge, be it practical or declarative. So, have I convinced you? Can you be a polymath? Do you think that you'll be able to do it, to pull it off? All the world's most successful people are polymaths, generalists in some regard. They've not just mastered one skill, but many skills and stacked them on top of each other. So if you want to have outworldly success, if you want to reach the highest peaks, if you want to get there, then you have to become a polymath in some way. And that starts by being curious, that starts by building your skills, that starts by understanding how the world works, and that starts by you doing your daily practice. So that's it from me for today. I hope I could really help you figure out some parts and some steps of your own journey of becoming a polymath, of getting better, of reaching your highest levels of mastery. I'm sure I'm going to make more videos around the subject because it's something that's very close to my heart. It's something I'm very curious about and something I'm struggling with myself. And it's something that I want to get better at myself. If today's video was interesting for you, again, I'm Nikolai. I make these videos where I share my journey, my struggles, my insights, my unlocks, everything that I've learned, and hope to help you with it. Again, if that is interesting to you, subscribe to my channel and watch out for the next video. Ciao!